What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy, Next Gen 720, and I'm back with another video. Yeah. And I guess there's another developers coming out, and I guess, and no, listen, I'm gonna start this up all wrong. Uh, Lauren Lanning, if you guys know him, he's the Odd World Apes, Odd World Inhabitants co-founder. He's doing a new Odd Worlds game creator, you know what I mean? And he talks about, developing on the Xbox One and the PS4, and it says that's the PS4's advantages disappearing and will disappear. You know what I mean? Saying that the Xbox One, basically saying that he said the creator of the Outworld series said that while a performance gap between the Xbox One and the PS4 was noticeable in the early releases, the situation is changing fast. So I would say months ago there was a wider gap, said Lanning. Part of it was the development on the system, he said, explained before going on to say that it was common to hear devs complaining that getting assets onto the Xbox One took twice as long as the PlayStation 4. And it had to do with the eFirm, like I said, and Microsoft. Like I said, I've been saying this from forever that, Sony kits and stuff, they dev kits were more mature than Microsoft. You can check my stats. I've been saying that shit's from eons, you know what I mean? You guys said I was damage controlling and edited out, you know what I mean? And you guys say no, it's because the Xbox One is. As I said, this, like I mean, at the end of the day, like, and like some shit, like I say, just makes sense. I'm just being honest. I'm not claiming to be an industry insider. Like my man Peter Dodd, got exposed over the Neo guy. If you don't know who Peter Dodd is, it's the famous Mortimer. You know what I mean? Got exposed. For being a so-called Sony insider and saying all he's staking all these motherfuckers left for a certain reason, and he got called out by one of the devs and shit, man. But anyway, I'm not claiming to be industry insider, but I was, like I said, some of this shit just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, why would Microsoft give Sony, that's another one the guy was talking about, him too, that famous moment saying that, the PlayStation had, boy, it was 50% more powerful than the Xbox. That's all his shit and his propaganda. You know what I mean? He was one of the ones doing that shit over in NeoGaf. But anyway, you know what I mean? Um, John Carmack, seven of these, developers have gone on record as saying that the Xbox One and the PS4 are very comparable. They're very much alike. You know what I mean? But here's another dev, like you said, the gap. He's basically saying, you know, just a few months, however, Atlantic believes that the process is getting easier. When hearing and seeing that the curve is getting closer, he said that I think at the end of the day, when people maximize both, so they're each powerful enough, and they're very comparable. You know what I mean? He's like I said, at the end of the day, the Microsoft their tools are coming, are coming, their dev kits and stuff are becoming more mature. You know what I mean? And they still haven't even given the devs back their 8%, power from the GPU. You know what I mean? Microsoft was holding that shit for, they was from what I'm hearing, that they were holding that. The reason why they didn't do it because of it was waiting on these new dev kits and shit. So, whatever the case may be, and we had a motherfucker from Microsoft came out last week and said that and I think it's funny as hell that this whole generation is nothing but 1080, everything talking about 1080p and 60 frames per second. You know what I mean? Which is obviously the Xbox can do it because I'm just being real. The Xbox, the only platform with exclusive, to be 1080p 60 frames per second, and damn sure ain't the PS4. I'm just being real. So at the end of the day, I just think it's silly as all hell, man. I honestly, I'll be glad when this whole 1080p shit in 1080p 60 frames per second gets is over with. Because like I said, I wanted to go view back the game. Let's sit and argue about games. And you want to say this one got the better game? Fine. I'm just tired of arguing about frame rates and resolution. It's the silliest shit in the world. It is because if you look at last generation, 90% of the PlayStation 3's catalog was sub HD. It was below 720p. They were like 540p, but it was upscale. Where the games were 720p and maybe 60 frames per second on the Xbox 360, it was sub HD. Look, take NFL 2K. What's that? NFL 2K8, the football. You know what I'm talking about? The All Pro Football 2K8, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It was motherfucking 60 frames on the Xbox 360 and was 30 frames on the PS3. But you didn't hear anyone talking about frames and that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Let it give me about the games. Like this whole pixel counting shit is it's fucking it's getting lame to me. You know what I mean? I'll be the first to say like this shit is whack. Let's talk about games. Let's talk about exclusives. Let's talk about these features. Let's talk about these online experiences. You know what I mean? Let's talk about what you know what I mean. Just I'm just being real. You know what I mean? My thing is we with the ponies when this whole when you can't sit and wave that 1080p 65 60, well you can't even say 60 frames because you don't you guys don't have an exclusive this 1080p 60 frames per second. You know what I mean? When you can't sit and wave that 1080p flag anymore, what is going to be then? What's going to be the next thing? I'm just saying though, real talk. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'll leave a link right here. You guys can check it out for yourself. And I just think it's funny as hell, man. Here it is another dev going on the record and saying, hold up, guys, hold up, you ponies. A horse is a horse, that is, of course.